and welcome back to our next episode of the $1 Million Coach podcast. And I am super excited today. Don't have the team, ditch them today. Bringing on a very special guest, Wykie Etsebeth, someone who I've known in the affiliate landscape down here in Australia for nearly 10 years now. You've been, in my horizon, I guess, and we've crossed over at events and different things. Super cool to have you on. You've had an incredible journey, which we'll touch on today, from, coach, affiliate owner, relocating to Australia, and then moving into the world of media and content creation, which is why I thought you'd be great to bring on and talk to about some of those experiences today. So welcome.
Thanks, Lisa. I'm pumped to be here. So it has been quite a journey. So it's always nice to catch up with friends and kind of reminisce and talk about it all. So hopefully I can provide a bit.
It's been, I remember when I went to your AndFit version at the Gold Coast for a seminar with Ty, Affiliate Solution, and that was, cool. And how I came across you, I guess, for some context, is Ty had said, if you're not using Snapchat or video, this is 10 years ago now. So he was, a bit ahead of the curve. Video is going to be the way to connect to your customers. And there was no Instagram Reels and no TikTok. So Snapchat was it. And it's just follow this guy in New Zealand. He's doing, fun things. And we'd follow along in your car while you were chatting and sharing your thoughts. And that's kind of how it started. And I think, as I sort of touched on earlier with you, our goal here at the $1 Million Coach podcast is to help coaches create sustainable businesses and income. We need more coaches to stay in the space, but most of them are underpaid, overworked, trading time for money. Their affiliate owners are struggling. They don't know how to help them. But they have all this knowledge. So what we want to try and do is teach them how to, leverage that knowledge into income. And I think an important foundation of that doesn't get talked about a lot is content creation, and the fact that it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. And a lot of people are scared by it. But I think we can probably start at the beginning. If you want to touch on a little bit of your story, like how you got in the CrossFit space and sort of, what drew you to being, more creatively orientated, I guess, and sort of a little bit of that backstory.
Yeah, for sure. So I grew up in South Africa, and I was one of those kids who just played every single sport under the sun. If there was a ball involved or running involved, anything sport related, I was in. And so I knew pretty early on that I was going to be in the fitness space to some degree. And so after school, I studied sports and exercise science, got my 3-year sports science degree. I cannot tell you anything that I learned during those 3 years. I've learned a lot more, through my CrossFit journey than I did during those 3 years at uni. But after uni, I started working at a Globo gym as an instructor. There was a gym in Auckland called Bodytech, and we used to man these 8 machines that the customers came in. They did the same 8 machines every day, and all you had to do is set the machine up, and just kind of, I guess, push the person to failure on each machine. It was pretty boring stuff. And I remember during my lunch break one day, I was just scrolling and I stumbled across CrossFit.com and looked at some of the workouts, and they were just so different to what I was used to. And so a few of our trainers at the gym started trying these CrossFit workouts, after our shifts, and just started falling in love with it. And ended up finding a local CrossFit gym to train at. Even though I was working at the Globo gym, I'd rush to the CrossFit gym after work and go and train there. And there was actually 4 of us at this Globo gym, 4 instructors that all left within the same month and opened up 4 gyms in Auckland, 4 CrossFit gyms in the same month. We all chipped in together and filled up a big container full of equipment that we flew over from China, because there was no one selling CrossFit equipment back in, this was 2010, 2011.
There's no Rogue.
No, exactly. So we just kind of got this big container over with some cheap gear from China, and and just quit the job there at the gym and jumped into affiliate ownership, knowing nothing about running a business, but just being in love with this thing called CrossFit, and then and having a passion for people and helping people, So I just felt like that was the thing that was missing at the Globo gym, was actual care for people, like actual relationship and community. It was more just about, it was more like surface level, just coming to try and trying to help these people to look a bit better or whatever, but there was no real depth to the journey.
Mhm.
So I just love the kind of CrossFit methodology and the community that came with that. So yeah,
Yeah.
started my gym in 2011 in Auckland. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. And I remember it was about 2014, I think, when I sort of became aware of you and ANFIT, and you were a fairly successful enterprise as a CrossFit affiliate in New Zealand. Like, you'd built a successful affiliate, a great team of coaches, and had that humming along really well, hadn't you?
Well, it probably looked like that on the surface. Um, if you looked under the hood, it was a bit of a mess, to be honest.
Mm.
2014, especially, like
Yep.
that was 3 years in, and I made every mistake, in the book.
Mm.
And I think perception, like, yeah, I can imagine people looking at what we had going and thinking, man, this guy's doing really well. He's got all together, when that couldn't be any further from the truth.
Mm.
I had an amazing setup with my facility. It was part of the church. It was like a big warehouse next to a church that we were part of. And so I
Mm.
got an amazing deal on the actual warehouse. So I was kind of, paying a rent that wasn't market rates,
Mm.
which was kind of like this false sense of security where there was a bit extra money because I didn't have much rent to pay, as such.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and yeah, my wife was working full time, so I wasn't drawing a whole lot of money from the business.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think back. So, I mean, the one thing we did have going for us is we had true community, which I think every gym says. It's such a hard thing to say these days because everyone says it, but we
Mm.
we really had a really legit team that would just do anything for me.
Mm.
So
But I think when
yeah,
you have that foundation, you can do anything, can't you? You can overcome, like, some of the messiness, and once you've got a team that's working and will do anything, your community strong behind you. You're like, well, we can kind of navigate through anything. It doesn't have to be perfect, and we can
exactly.
make it all work.
Yeah, that's right. But I think it's really important to understand that saving face is not it's not worth it. Like, you got to be honest with where you're at, and you got to be able to reach out and ask for help, because I think there's so much
Hmm.
ego. It can be quite a lot of ego in the gym ownership space. Everyone
Oh.
wants to make sure that their box or their gym looks really good on social compared to everyone else,
Hmm.
and um, yeah, we all want to have it together, but that's just not the reality for a lot of gym owners. And so I think one of the great things I did was I reached out to Ty, who you've mentioned, around that
Yep.
time, because I was like, man, I know it looks like we're doing well, but we're
Yep.
not. Like, I need help, and
Yep.
yeah, we actually turned the gym around within 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
With
Well.
even with me being remote, like being here, I moved here in 2016, and over those 2 years while I was here, the business actually grew a lot more because I got out of the way. I got out of
Mm.
the way of myself a little bit. Yeah,
And that's one of the hardest things I know, in our work with Fitfiliate, is helping affiliate owners understand that, like, we aren't the best at doing everything in the affiliate, and we probably shouldn't be doing those things. But then it's hard not to center everything around you. But then when they get out of the way, they're like, oh, this stuff's getting done, and it's getting done better. Awkward. And
exactly.
you're right what you say. We don't have that vulnerability. Even, coaches, you go to any affiliate gathering and it's all like, oh, I've got, 300 members and I've got 200, and everyone's like doing really well. And then you'll see, one or two people who are like, well, I'm going to get out of this conversation because I can't compete with that. But if they actually knew that it was all just, people's highlight reels, then, and we had more of these open conversations about, no, this shit is hard, man. And I struggle with this. And yeah, there are nights I go home and cry and wonder how am I going to open the doors tomorrow? And I think we would all grow better as an ecosystem if we could have more of those conversations. And you're right, there's not a lot who are reaching out and going, you know what, I'm a bit stuck. Like,
Mm,
I don't have the solutions. And where we focus with this, our million dollar coach program through this podcast, is really, we understand that coaches are not, they're not earning an income. Most of them burn out because they're trading time for money, and they look at what everyone else is doing. So they might look at a Pat Barber, a Denise Thomas, or whoever, and go, well, how can I put content out there and offer a program when all these other people who are way more like famous are doing it? And then they have all this knowledge and they've got all the certifications, and they don't reach out for help because they're like, well, I'm a coach. and I do this because I want to help people. I don't do it for the money. Well, if you don't make money, you can't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Exactly.
we're trying to push past some of those limiting things that people hang on to, but you know, maybe you can touch on a little bit of your, I guess, the reason that you started, I guess, dabbling when you were still the affiliate owner in like Snapchat and being like quite an early adopter of that stuff, as using it for the business as well as, a creative outlet.
Yeah, for sure. I was just thinking then while you was talking about the coaches, because I was a gym owner. I haven't really experienced what it's like to be, a coach working in a box trying to make some
Mhm,
extra money somehow. But I was thinking if I was to become a trainer now, like a coach now, like you said, we can so easily get caught up in the bigger world. Like, oh, there's better people out there doing it around the world. But
mm,
the reality is, people love to connect with someone local, and there are more than enough people in your city, in your town where you coach, to
mhm,
create a product, an online product, or something that people will connect with, just because you are local and they can relate to you better to someone over in America or where
mm,
or someone in Europe, wherever you are. So I think coaches need to not despise their small community around them, because I think that's probably where the gold is and where the value is. And so
mm,
even though you might only have, like, how many people do you really need to buy your online program or to follow your coaching online? You don't need that many to be successful. I can guarantee there's enough people in your state or in your area to make that work. And so I
mm,
think taking your eyes off the rest of the world and just focusing on servicing your little community, you'll find that there's probably more than enough there to run a really successful business. And so I say all that to say, when you create content and you only get 100 views on something, if
mm.
you think about what 100 people in one room looks like, that's a lot of people. If there's 100 people in the room listening to you speak, that's a lot of people. But we're
Yeah.
always chasing the thousands and the millions of views, and it's like, yeah, we really don't need that. And
Mm,
so when I started my Snapchat kind of videos, I pretty much just had like a few affiliate owners follow me.
mm,
But for me, it was more training ground. Like, for me, it was getting the reps in.
mhm,
I have to relate this to like fitness. If someone says to you, "Hey, I want to get a 100 kg snatch," as a coach, you know the journey it takes to get there. You know the amount of reps you have to put in at lighter loads and the technique work to actually achieve that grand goal. So if you have this goal of being able to create great content and being good on camera and all that, it has to start with just hundreds of reps that
mm,
aren't great, aren't polished, aren't perfect.
mm.
And for me, that was just making a Snapchat video on my car every day. That
Yep.
was for me, those the reps I was getting in to be able to get better, talk to the camera, kind of see what people like and respond to. And so if you're not making any content because you're scared, you have to just start putting the reps in.
Yeah.
It
It's
doesn't matter how basic it is. Yeah.
and, we're our own worst critics. Like you know, have done hundreds of hours of these podcasts now, and I still don't enjoy watching them back or listening to it back. And I remember, like, at that time when Ty was like, video is where it's at, I started just doing a Facebook Live into my members group because I couldn't undo it, I couldn't filter it, I couldn't edit it, and I just had to go with it. So then I got to the point where I was confident to like do outward facing content that went out, and stuff for YouTube or instructional stuff or whatever. But you're right, it does take those reps and do the things. And if you've got that safe community in your affiliate that you either work at or your own, that's a great place because no one's going to go, Lakey, that was a shit video you did. Like people are going to go, oh, that was interesting, da da da, and you start to build confidence
That's
in
it.
what you can
Exactly.
do.
If
Yeah.
you use Most people say, "Oh, no one's watching my stuff, so why would I bother putting something out?" That's the very reason you should put it out, because no one's watching at the moment, no one cares, so you might as well
Mm,
put it out and get the practice in. So if you kind of just flip that on its head and go, yeah, because no one's
mm,
watching, that's the reason I should be making stuff, because I can screw up and just have fun
mm.
and make mistakes now, and then maybe one day when people are watching, you'll be well
You'll
practiced and well
be
trained.
well practiced. Yeah, I mean, we
Yeah.
had EC Sinkowski on the podcast a few months ago now, and she said that she likened Instagram, for example, was the same as a rock concert. We're all shouting, wanting to be heard, and you think no one's hearing you, but there is somebody over the other side of the room that you don't know about that needs to hear what you have to say. But if you're
Yeah.
not saying it, then you're doing that person a disservice because they're not. getting them the stuff that they need to help them move forward. And you're having these endless conversations with people that you don't even know you're having them with, and building those relationships until they're at a point where they're like, yeah, cool, I'm going to reach out and, you know, do this or do that, or ask for this or sign up or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah,
But it's building
100%.
that trust and those reps.
Yeah, and the thing is, you're right. People watch and they watch in silence. They don't say anything, and you never hear from them. And then one day you meet someone, they're like, "Oh, I've been watching your stuff forever." I'm like, it's so surprising who's watching without you knowing. So you're
Mm,
absolutely right. You might not feel like you're reaching anyone, but there's always someone just quietly watching, just waiting for you, to build that trust with them. So um, yeah, you're 100% right. The other thing is, we compare ourselves as coaches. We compare ourselves to other coaches when it comes to our knowledge and how we present ourselves and how we speak. When If you compare yourself to the average human being, they know
mm,
absolutely nothing about health and fitness. Like,
mm,
you might not think like you know a lot. Believe me, you know so much more than the average human being. So
mm,
that's the other thing. Often we think that we're creating content to impress our peers, or our fitness people are going to see this and think I'm an idiot. I was like, no,
mm,
you're making it for the average population that know nothing about fitness. So your most basic piece of knowledge could be mind blowing to them, or it will be mind
mm,
blowing to them. So you just teaching a basic air squat on camera is going to blow someone's mind that's never been taught how to do an air squat. So it doesn't have to be the intricate details of how the human brain works. It doesn't have to be that complicated. It can just
no.
be a simple tip or trick can really help the average person. So yeah,
Mm,
I think simplicity and breaking things down, not kind of like just vomiting out all your knowledge in one video, but just picking out
yeah.
just one little tidbit that you think is going to be helpful for the average person, and just making a video around that, a 1 minute video
And
around that. So, yeah,
as coaches, we've all been in that environment where, you've told member X 1,000 times a particular thing. Another coach will come and just word it slightly differently. Oh, it's the most revolutionary idea they've ever heard. So
yeah,
just because there are a lot of videos or a lot of content on socials about teaching an air squat, you might just have something that makes sense to somebody else that none of the other stuff has. So again, it's that comparison and that thinking, well, it's too crowded. You're truly in a field of one because only you can communicate the way that you do, and have your understanding and your perception around it, which means that someone is going to resonate with that. You don't know who, you don't know where they are, but we see it hand over hand all the time in the affiliate. So using those lessons from the affiliate, like get the reps in, be consistent, do the thing, is using that from what you've noticed from coaching physical stuff and CrossFit to this kind of aspect, and it all translates. The lessons are very much there.
yeah,
So,
absolutely. And I think people love finding someone to follow that's a bit more niche. It's like discovering a new band that no one knows about.
mhm,
What I found in my space with content creation is, often when someone becomes big time, people almost, it loses the shine. Like, it's like, oh, everyone follows this guy. People like finding someone, just maybe a smaller creator or a smaller trainer. So yeah, again, I just want to encourage people to not despise
mm,
the small beginnings, because it's like there'll be people out there that will find you the same way someone would find like a new band they love, and they will just fall in love with what you're doing, and they'd much rather listen to you than the big shiny person who people can
mm,
smell BS. And so when things are too overproduced and too polished,
mm,
people are like, this person has 10 camera people following them, and I just want someone
mm.
local to follow. So yeah,
and
don't despise it.
and I and that's really, really true, and it's very powerful. Is like, I know myself, I've followed people, and then you can tell they kind of hit this point where they've become a thing, and their content is, and the stuff they put out, it's like almost becomes too generic or too about what the people want. It's not authentic. It's not, and you kind of like, oh, probably not going to watch that as much anymore. Whereas when people are having their organic beginnings and they're just getting up and talking about things that matter to them, whether it's technical or whether it's observations or just their opinions, like, I think there's a lot of power in that, and you feel like you can connect with that person. Like, I know for you, like, I feel like, even though we've met like a handful of times, like, I feel like when I watch your stuff, like, oh, I know Vykie, and I know his stuff's good quality, and it's very authentically you. It's funny, it's depreciating, but it's also informative and not just putting stuff out for clicks or likes. It's, you're not into that sort
Yeah.
of jam. You're like, oh, okay, I can watch that and I know that I'm going to have a good experience. And I can also reach out to you on Instagram and you're going to go, yeah, hey, cool. And I know it's you that I'm talking to, not, an answering bot. And I know
Exactly.
that creators, like we've got a mutual friend, Colin, shout out to Mr. Noble, who reached out to you and said, hey, I want to start creating a channel about his Ironman journey. And I know that you've been super helpful to him in like helping him understand the basics of that kind of thing. Whereas if you reached out to some of the, bigger name people in the space, that's probably not what you're going to get back. So it's your
Yeah, exactly.
authenticity and your relatability that's, got you to that point. But again, your very small beginnings with Snapchat have led you to producing documentaries for the likes of Matt Fraser.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty mind blowing, Vakey, for a journey through, I guess. And it hasn't been overnight, but to the casual observer, you go, wow, like this guy Vakey's just appeared in the last couple of years and he's doing stuff for Matt Fraser, but it started from those Snapchat content.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you can trace it back to that. Yeah, hearing you say that out loud, like making a documentary from Matt Fraser, that's doesn't even sound real, but yeah, it's just the accumulation of just turning up, I guess, just
So
turning
being
up ads.
authentic.
Yeah, that's it. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's crazy.
So, and I got to say, I did watch the behind the scenes documentary you did for like Matt's journey as coach. Super cool. But I also like the piece you'd done before where you were kind of left unsupervised in the HWPO training facility, and it was
Yep.
super funny and just super. People might look at it and go, "It's kind of nothing content," but it was very you, and it was very relatable. And there's no, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna hang out in this space. Everyone's left. I'm just gonna do some
Yeah.
things. But
Yeah.
but if you weren't the authentic and genuine person that you are on screen as well as off screen, those opportunities aren't necessarily going to present themselves because you're not going to be in the places to seize an opportunity like that.
Yeah, that's right. And that's one thing I've learned, probably the hard way, is the people that you want opportunities with, they are just like you and me. They're just normal people, and they appreciate the same things we appreciate, which is just realness and rawness. You don't have to try and impress or try to be someone you're not. And I know in the early days when I kind of started breaking into the space, I would be in the room with someone who I've admired for years, an athlete or a coach or a business owner, and I would, I wouldn't be myself because I'd be like, oh, I'm not enough. I need to be someone that I'm not to impress this person, to get a job. And I've realized that these people respond the same way we respond to people, which is just be real, be yourself, be vulnerable, and they'll fall in love with you and use you and give you a chance.
Yep.
And that's been my reality. Like talking about Matt Fraser, Matt and Sammy, the most down to earth people you'll ever meet, and they care much less about my ability as a videographer. They care a lot more about me as a person and whether I fit into their culture and their family, which I have. So, yeah, it's just not pretending and just being yourself and being vulnerable is the way forward for sure.
And that can be hard to be that vulnerable in that space, but that's in a world where it's easy to swipe every 3 seconds or scroll up. Like they're the things that stand out when someone's actually not being filtered. They're being real with what they're thinking, feeling, their opinion. They're not worried about being cancelled or, they're not going out of their way to be offensive, but
Yes.
they're just, communicating and saying, hey, I've got this thing that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
And I've got a story to tell, and you either find somebody to help you tell that story or you figure out how to tell your story. But that's what people connect with. They want, a story, something to believe in, to see that the impossible can be done. And, well, if Vakey can start in his car with a Snapchat and now he's, at the games with Matt Fraser, like, and, that's a hell of a journey for you. But, when you look at it in those two contexts, you're like, well, what did Vakey do? Well, he started.
Yeah. It's
And you were consistent,
Yeah.
And we talk about even like Andrew Hiller was, his, love him or hate him, but his thing was to do a YouTube video every day.
Yeah.
And he did on,
He does.
10 minutes, 30 minutes. And he got to his end goal of being able to do media at the games. Like that's what I wanted. And but took him a year of doing and you can see the evolution of how his media has improved, but also,
Yeah.
but his message has been the same. He's always been very unapologetically him, love him or hate him, as I said. It's
Yeah,
he just puts it out there. He's
that's
like,
it.
I've got no skin in the game. I'm just going to give you my opinion. If you want to watch it, watch it. If you don't.
I love
And
that.
people connect with that, and I think that
Yeah,
that's
that's it.
powerful.
Yeah,
So if we're
I love it.
talking about coaches that are like, okay, well, I've got this thing. I want to tell my story. Like, how do I start? Like, do I need a $5,000 camera? Do I need, you know, lights and, fancy things? Or, how do I start? Like, how do I even do something basic but do it well?
Yeah, sure. You absolutely do not need thousands of dollars worth of equipment. I think if you've bought an iPhone in the last 5 years, or something similar, you're going to be just fine to just use that. The cameras on our phones are just amazing now. So I would just start with the phone. I wouldn't worry about cameras. Um, Anything that's going to get in your way of creating content, which I can guarantee you, if you're not a videographer, having a camera to operate and change settings is going to just slow you down and discourage you from starting. So you got to find a way where it's literally just just hit record and you're away laughing. So I would start on my phone, and I would say that audio is way more important actually than video. I think audio is probably where I would look at focusing.
Mhm.
So finding a little lav mic or something that can plug into your phone and clip onto your shirt, just something that's going to make the audio better. And then the other thing that I've recently started doing, which I took too long, is adding captions to my videos. So just downloading an app that can add captions. I think having captions and good audio is probably more important than the actual quality of the professionalism of the video. And in
Mhm.
fact, I think most companies I work for now will ask me to do video both on my phone for them and also on my camera, because they
Mm.
test it. They do like A/B testing with the professional footage compared to the phone footage. And I think majority of them say that the iPhone footage performs better online than the professional stuff. And the reason is people just know. They just know when something's too produced. They think this is an ad, someone's trying to sell
Mhm.
me something. Just they turn away from it. As soon as
Yep.
they see something they recognize, oh, this is kind of similar to what I see on my phone when I film stuff, they can
Mhm.
relate to it. It's more real. So you're actually going to do better, I think, just filming on your phone, and just making
Mhm.
sure you got good audio and some captions. So that'd be
Yep.
my advice. Yeah.
And I think the captions are something that's often overlooked because, like most of us, it's I remember like back in the day when when we first started getting phones, you'd buy a ringtone or download a ringtone, but now everyone has their phone on silent. Like if that thing makes a noise, oh, you're like, what's happened here? And we're all scrolling in silence, and you're just reading. It's like,
Yeah,
and
it's
if I'm
true.
reading something, I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. Then I'll hit the sound and go, okay, this is worth me, listening to. But
Excellent.
most of the stuff is consumed silently as people
Yeah.
are just scrolling through rather than having like things cutting in and out. So those captions are often overlooked. And that was a mistake I made when I was dabbling in reels for Fitfilliate early on, is like I didn't have that skill set and we were just putting them out there and I just relied on and Instagram will do them for you anyway, but just the default ones. But, you know, that is enough to get people's attention. And those reels got way more attention than had no words on it whatsoever. As people are like,
100%.
don't want to listen, moving on.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
short attention spans.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you got to have them, honestly. Like in today's day and age, you just have to have them. And there's some great apps now. I've got one called Captionator. And
Yep.
even with my, like, I'm like South African, Kiwi, Aussie, like, I don't even know what I am anymore. Even with my, like, fast speaking, funny accent, like, it just picks it up perfect. And just, I hardly ever have to, like, adjust or edit the text. So there's some great apps out there now that does it. I think mine's called Captionator, maybe.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
So here's a I guess the question is, so I've got this thing and I film this stuff. Should I just focus on one platform and do that super well, or should I just try and get it out like, you know, big spread, just spread it as far and wide as I can on every platform and just have bits and pieces everywhere?
Yeah. I mean, in theory, you want to create unique content for every platform. But
Mm.
even I don't do that. Like, I focus on Instagram and YouTube, and I'm not on TikTok or Snapchat or any of those. Even though Snapchat was my my roots, I wouldn't be able to even know how to operate Snapchat now. Um, yeah, I mean, I think ideally you want to, as a minimum, I think just whatever you film, just post that same video across the platforms that you're on. You
Mm.
might as well just post that same video on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, wherever you are.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean the gurus will tell you that you got to respect the platform and create like unique content for each one, but it's just like it's too much. So
There's too much to learn, as in, TikTok has different things that it values over what Instagram and Facebook and
yeah, exactly. And I remember I used to tell myself that I would always stay up with the trend and I'd always be on the latest platform. And
mm,
here I am, just basically, just on Instagram, but pretty much I even forget to post my Instagram reels on YouTube Shorts,
mm,
which I know I should be doing because Shorts, if you want to be on YouTube, like Shorts are doing really well right now, so I should really
mm,
post everything I create on there. But yeah, I would say just keep it simple. I would say just post whatever you make across the ones you're already on. Yeah,
mm.
yeah.
So what do you see in your, like, you know, you're now exposed to a lot of, you probably watch a lot of content, see a lot of content, and you're exposed to a lot of creators. Like, what do you sort of see as the biggest mistakes that people might make in trying to push something out there rather than, you know, being as authentic with it? I mean, we've touched on over editing and stuff like that, but some mistakes that people make, like when they're trying to get something off the ground.
Yeah, I think your tone of voice and language when it changes when you're trying to sell something versus when you're like actually using something and believe in it. It's much easier and natural to talk about it. So I think first of all, you got to make sure that whatever you are selling is actually something you really believe in and you are using, and you've seen results with. So for example, like if you have an online program, or let's say you've got a gymnastics course that you want to sell, if you've already put 20, 30, 40 people through that program and you've seen them improve, you've seen them get their first pull up, or their first muscle up, or whatever you're trying to do, it's a lot easier to then go, man, I know this works. So I can just talk about it. I can maybe even get the person that I've helped to jump in and share testimonial. So that's the first thing, is make sure you're actually using the thing you're selling and you've seen some results with it. Otherwise it's going to be very obvious that you're trying to sell something that you're not sure about. So
Mm,
that's probably the main thing. I think people try and sell things they haven't really seen the results of,
mhm,
because I can write up a program right now and start selling it online and never have done it myself. I never put anyone through it.
mm,
But yeah, it's gonna be a lot more powerful when I've gone, man, I've helped Sally through this, and this is where she's got to. I can tell the
mm,
story. Sally can be next to me. So that's probably the biggest mistake I think, is people try and sell stuff they don't really believe in or haven't really used. They're just trying to make a buck.
mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I think yeah,
that is a big one where you can, it's really clear to see as well, isn't it? It's like, I don't think that you believe that you're selling this program, it's $10, it's not gonna work, but you just wanna get the clicks and upsell to something else, and it's just a big funnel of spending, I guess, and people are super wise to a lot of that stuff now for sure.
yeah,
When it when we talk about affiliates, and because our other passion here is that in affiliate is protecting the affiliate model, like we want affiliates to be successful. We want the owners to, escape the burnout, be able to live and find, some freedoms of time, purpose, money, relationships. Those are kind of our core tenets. So if I'm an affiliate owner going, well, what content should I be thinking about for my affiliate? Like, every day I post 10 photos on Instagram of people working out. Isn't that
yeah,
enough?
yeah, yeah.
And go.
Yeah, so I would start first of all by just using CrossFit's content to start with. I think not enough affiliates do this. There's some great
Mm,
content out there that CrossFit has produced that you can just repost. That's already really educational, really good looking stuff, and you are a CrossFit affiliate, so you can share that stuff, and it should relate to what you're doing. So first of all, I would repurpose the stuff that CrossFit's created already. Scroll
mm,
through their feed and find stuff that you're like, oh man, this is a cool story. I want to reshare this.
mm,
Because again, if someone from outside is looking at your Instagram reel or your profile, they probably won't know that that content wasn't yours. And
mm,
it's totally fine. You pay your affiliation fee. You can you're part of the CrossFit ecosystem, so there's nothing wrong with resharing their stuff. And yeah, so that's where I would start. And then second of all, your coaches, like your staff, I would empower them to create content. But again, let's say you want to help. I assume most gym owners want to help their coaches. I would get the coach to, let's say the coach wants to earn some extra money, get them to create a course, a 4 or 8 week course, and then they can create some content to kind of promote that course. That's going to help sell the course for them. But then perhaps they can take some clip outs from that content they've created for the course that you can share on your page. That's helpful as well. So that way, it's a win-win for both the coach and the affiliate owner. The coach gets to promote the program they're trying to sell and run, and the affiliate owner gets some great content, just some little clips you can take out from the content they've shot to share to the broader gym. But yeah, so instead of trying to do it all yourself, try and get your staff on board with the content game, and but there's got to be an incentive for them. Like it's like they're creating content for the thing they've created, and it's also helping you with your gym. So I think a bit of crossover content really helps and works.
And it's that reciprocity in the relationship, isn't it? It's like if the coach is successful, that's going to help the affiliate, and if the affiliate is successful, it's going to help the coach. But quite often we have, there's almost like the battle where the coach comes in and goes, I need more money. And the affiliate owner is, well, I don't have any more money to give you. Like I can't give you any more hours. I don't have the money. Well, I've got my level 2, 3, 4. Like I need to get paid more. Well, cool. Instead of coming to the affiliate owner saying, hey, you need to grow. I've got this idea. I'll run with it. Let's work out a way to make it work. And then the coach gets to do it in a great environment with the affiliate, and then the affiliate owner benefits, and everybody wins. So there's that whole working together, which is really part of the message we try and promote, is that it's not what's in it for me, but how can we work together to make this successful for each other.
Exactly.
I mean, it's funny when you talk about using HQ's content. I mean, and I'm sure that you did it, but back in the day, I don't know how many times I shared the original Let Me Tell You About CrossFit video. Still, I think one of my all-time favorite things. And, that lived on my website, and it was something I shared regularly because it just resonated so much with me. And I couldn't have said that any better. And it might be old now, but it certainly hasn't dated. There's probably a few more gray hairs in Eric at the front and a few other people, but get it out there to the world, and it's there for you to utilize. As you said, you pay your affiliation. Like for years, affiliates scream at HQ saying, well, do more for us. Well, they're back to creating content now. So pick it up and use it. And, you have, and I think once you see it done quite often, you can actually then go look for those same stories in your affiliate and go, okay, where have we had examples of this happening in our affiliate? And then start to tell your own stories, which is a powerful thing.
Exactly.
It's get the confidence.
Oh man. Yeah, that's it. And the thing is, I think we don't realize how much our members want to help us. Like they want to champion us. Our members love us. They love what we do. And so all we have to do is give them the opportunity to share their story, and they'll happily do it. Most will happily do it, we just have to ask and have the, have it kind of all set up so they can just jump in and not waste their time, but just get to jump in, share their story real quick. And it's not hard to capture 10, 20 great stories out of your box of a mum or a business owner or whatever, a person who's 50 plus or whatever the case might be. So I would definitely reach out to my members and get them in front of the camera. I would get my staff excited about content. And I think for the staff stuff, and for the, you might have some silly members that might be keen for this as well, but just people want to be entertained. And if they can see that your box is about, having some fun and you're normal people, I think like doing fun reels and TikToks that have no other purpose other than to entertain and to make people laugh is a great way to just break the mold of just posting another photo of someone doing an exercise, So like I save fun TikToks or fun reels all the time. When I'm scrolling and I see something that I think is really funny, I'll just save it, and then maybe I'll try and recreate it in some way, put my own flavor on it. But I would definitely try and aim to put at least one entertaining, funny thing that just makes your environment feel like a fun, place to be around, Yeah.
And that's funny. I'm probably going to sound like a Wykie stalker here, but I remember one you did once to that. Trying to think of a song when that song, the Fast Car remix came out, and you were cleaning the gym, and you just were spinning in this circle doing it, and I was laughing. I'm like, here's Wykie cleaning his gym, and I'm laughing watching this thing, and I was like, that's such a cool thing. Like I did replicate it, but it never saw the public light of day. Need to be saying, like fully transparent. But I was like, okay, that's not my jam to do that. Clearly, that's not me being authentic. But I was like, it was just, you just popped it out there, and it's just like, yeah, I'm cleaning the gym. It's a really grindy job, but if you're not doing it to this tune, then you're missing out. And I was like, that's so cool. And it just made me smile. So
Yeah.
you're right. There can be a lot to be gained of doing something light and for no other purpose than just it made you feel good to do it.
Yeah, it really helps people to connect with you. So and if you don't feel like you have that kind of creative flair or that kind of fun side to you, just like I said, find a member. There's a crazy member in every box that loves the camera and loves to create these things.
Yeah.
Give it to them. Say, hey, I want you to create one fun thing every week for me, and maybe you can, I don't know, maybe you can give them something. But there's a company I work with, which I'm sure you're aware of, LSKD. I work with, and they do a lot of. If you look at their page, it's pretty much just fun reels, like just to start having fun in the office. And well, they're wearing the LSKD gear, but so you kind of get that promotion of the gear on top of just having a good laugh and watching something fun. So yeah, big fan of just like silly
And
skits.
they have some really fun ambassador, like Khan Porter's always up for anything. Like,
yeah,
see now
exactly.
he's going gladiators, but they'll do fun things with him, like, and you'll see that and you realize that, oh yeah, he's wearing the gear, but it captured your attention long enough to watch and see and go, oh, that, looks like something that I want to continue to watch and digest.
It's a lot more fun to create that stuff. It's a lot easier, natural, and it probably will get a lot more engagement than a tutorial or something, So yeah, I would definitely sprinkle some of those in there.
Yeah. And it's good. I remember once I said to a couple of the teenage girls at the gym, I said, all right, TikTok, like, teach us a dance to do for the 7 a.m. class. Made their day, and they had all these adults trying to do this thing that they were doing, but everyone got involved. Everyone's laughing. They're looking at me going, are you batshit crazy? Like, why are we doing this? But everyone was laughing, and it, they all shared it and reshared it. And it was like everyone just had fun, and it was for no other purpose than let's just do something different today. So you're right.
Sure.
And the members love that. It's super powerful.
Yeah.
So where can people see your stuff? If they want to, follow the content that you put out or see the sort of stuff that you're working on.
Yeah, so I mean that's my Instagram handle right there, just Wykie Etsebeth. By the way, your pronunciation of my name and surname is like the best I've heard in years. So thank you.
Winning. I was all morning. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've got it right.
Yeah. So that's my Instagram handle. I'm pretty sure my YouTube's exactly the same, just Wykie Etsebeth. So I'm only really on Instagram and YouTube, my two main platforms. I do play a lot of golf these days, so the content is kind of towards that. But by saying that, I've got some really cool CrossFit stuff coming up in the next few months as well. So that's exciting. I'm actually going to a massive affiliate summit in Sweden next month. I think it's maybe 150 affiliates. So me and Ty are getting back on the road together for the first time in years.
Oh, look out. The boys are back in town.
Yeah, so we some great content while we're there. And
fantastic.
We've got the WA Affiliate Cup coming up in Perth, so I'm going to that and create some content there. So some cool stuff coming up. Yeah,
fantastic. And I know you've got your Raw Love channel, and I love the way that you've tried to also, just as an aside, create a community with that. Like, I know Colin loves his merch, has one of your shirts, but you've kind of created a community around your YouTube channel, like Hey Tribe, like, it's it's virtual, but everyone sort of feels like they belong to something. So I think that that's something real powerful. And yes, I've just started watching your golf journey, so that's always interesting. It's good. All right. My friend, look, it's been super cool to catch up, and I really appreciate your time, and there's been lots of gold in this. And I'm sure if anyone has questions and wants to reach out, you'd be more than happy to answer questions. I know you've answered my questions about editing or finding good tutorials to learn how to edit, so I appreciate you. And cool. I appreciate the help you've given to Colin as well. And you're a good dude in the space. So I hope many more good things come your way, and we will definitely get you back on again for another chat as well, for sure.
Always keen.
Yeah, awesome. All right, thank you, Wykie.
Thanks, mate.